I see that, yeah. That looks really good. I can tell. The quality is like...
And away we go, people. Do we need to talk about all the stuff like we normally do to get started?
What are you talking
all the
about?
random things that I was talking about at the beginning.
We don't ever do that.
We did that off camera this time.
Yeah,
we never talk about random things like that.
Well, normally I'm rolling in here and we're like trying to do something before we have to start.
Yes. Oh, my beer's too far away. All right. Well, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to the On the Brink podcast. I am Matt Brinker. This is Colby Lykins, and we have Jason Holzapfel with us.
How you doing?
And we are very excited to have him with us. Since we started the podcast, Colby has had him in his mind to be on here. Colby, he's your boss, correct?
Yeah, like at the top of the tower,
okay.
My boss.
He told me off camera that you were the worst employee he has.
I figured.
No, I said second favorite. So he's my second favorite, but there's about 50 times for first.
See, that's what I asked you that so I could use it at, like on camera, so then I could get him with it.
Oh,
so why don't you quickly give us like 1 to 2 minute kind of who you are, background, what you do. I did a little bit of digging earlier. I know we have some common interests. So give us a little bit of background so we can get to know you a little bit better.
All right. Well, like you said, I'm Jason Holzapfel. I'm from Wellston. I lived there since I was 4 years old. I have a wife named Jackie and 2 kids, Nally and Owen, 5 and 2 years old. Graduated from Wellston. Like I said, I'm from Wellston. Went to Bowling Green State University.
Nice.
Got a degree in psychology, and I don't use it.
Yeah.
But I got into convenience stores in year 2000. We built the store in Wellston, so it's going on 19 years now.
Wow.
Shortly thereafter, we bought the filling station right down the hill. Then a few years after that, we bought Handy Martin Quick Stop.
Nice. And Handy Mart's where you work, right?
Yep, state liquor store.
Yeah, that's where, if you watched old episodes of the podcast, that's where Colby and I first met. Whenever he thought I was a home wrecker, riding a bicycle. Did you watch that? You don't know that?
I haven't seen that.
I told you a little bit about like how we first met and everything at the liquor store. So then after I went back in and told Colby, like, hey, I do photo, video, all that, Colby said the guy in line behind him was like, yeah, I'm going to run that guy over with my car. He's been banging my wife.
Yeah, because he just got on a bike and like skedaddled away.
Yeah. Anyways, oh, wow. That's terrible. Anyways, yeah, that's the backstory of how Corey and I met. So you own a total...
Did you say Corey? Did you say Corey?
Wow.
Dude, I literally see you all the time.
Yeah, Sunday. Actually, since we talked about it last week, that concert at the Ivy was absolutely lit. By the way, the middle camera is kind of our main camera, just so you know.
Yeah.
That concert at the Ivy was awesome. We had Larry pull a impromptu concert where he told everybody repeatedly how intoxicated he was, and then did a random cameo in a really, really hard. Right, what is that song called?
762. That's my jam. Like, no matter what, I had that song. I really wanted him to play it during my set.
Okay, so that was going to happen no matter what.
Yeah,
then.
Yeah. Sure.
That's awesome. Well, thank you as always to our unofficial sponsor, 6 Cents Brewing. Thank you again to our owners. They allow us to film in here on Tuesdays while we're closed. They allow us to have some beer and not yell at me for it. So thank you so much for that. This is a special one, man. This is one that we brewed, I think in like September last year. This is called Espress. It's a very, very dark, rich beer. It is a Russian Imperial Stout. Usually anything that has the word Imperial in it when it comes to beer means it's very strong. This is 9.3%. I tell people jokingly that it looks like motor oil, and it kind of does, but it tastes a lot better than motor oil. Real dark, real rich, lots of malt. A little bit of maybe not Scotch flavor in it, but there's a little bit of like kind of that liquory flavor in it. It's not overly harsh though. Like you can sit and drink this one and not like some of these dark ones. I think I can only do one of. This is
I feel like sometimes any kind of a dark beer kind of gives you that like, I don't know how to describe it, but just for me, it's usually a little harder. Recently, I've been drinking more dark beer, but. Yep. It's normally a lot harsher, and this is really smooth. Yeah,
so I get like you get a lot of malt, a little bit of like chocolate in it. It's not really peanut butter, but there's kind of that creaminess to it as well. kind of as it's sitting in the back of my throat right now, is a little bit of peanut butter flavor coming through. There is no peanut butter in this. We do have a peanut butter porter coming out next week, though.
I'm so excited for that.
We also have a peanut butter porter we're doing, and we also have a cinnamon roll.
What are you going to do about people with peanut allergies?
They're not going to drink it. That one's going to automatically be 86. They're not doing that. Anyways, this is a really good one. We actually had this beer, like I said, I think September or October last year, and we kept one in a keg for about 8 months. And that one actually came out fantastic. But all of the brewers are really excited to brew it again because we haven't had a fresh batch of it since last year.
Yeah.
And it's so much better fresh. Like, and especially like it got kegged Saturday, so it's had some time to kind of rest in the keg a little bit, and man, it's so much better after it has some time to kind of sit in the keg and then come back out. It's so much better that way.
Yeah.
That's weird stuff I didn't know about beer at all. Like sometimes they get better with age in the keg, and sometimes they get worse in the kegs and all that. So, yeah. Anyways, that's all the beer stuff. Thank you as usual, 6 Cents.
Yeah,
cheers,
sure.
guys. Jason, appreciate you being here. Colby, Corey, whatever your name is.
So I can reach it.
Thanks as always, my man. So, we were going to talk today about turning setbacks into comebacks and failures. And as usual, when Colby and I kind of talked about this, it was very quick today, but he said it, and I immediately went like, shit, like, I'm still in the middle. I'm smack dab in the middle of living this right now. Like me and the media career and what I'm doing right now is directly launched from the biggest setback and failure of my life. And it was to the point where I even thought, like, what am I going to do now? I should just go end it, kill myself, be done with it, because I'm trying to start that heavy. Sorry, guys.
That went dark, man. That went dark real quick.
A dark to match the dark, but Colby's going to casually sip his water over here like, oh, crap. No, but, like, I didn't know what I was going to do, and I had no options. I had no direction or anything. And then after a little bit of time and letting things kind of settle and talking with my sister and some other people is where the media thing started. And so when you said it to me today, I was like, hell yeah. But I'm curious to know what comes to mind from the two of you when you first think about that. So I don't know who wants to lead it. Jason, Colby. What comes to mind when you think about like setbacks that you've turned into either comebacks or that you've turned around and brought into something good? Like any stories that you have of that?
Well, we've definitely had a lot of setbacks and failures, but I like to call them lessons instead of that.
Yeah.
The first one that really comes to mind is right down the hill back in 2011, got a phone call that the filling station was on fire.
Wow.
And that was pretty bad. I get there and I thought, well, how bad is this going to be? It was bad. So basically, we shut down for 6 months to remodel the place. The only thing that's there that wasn't there before is the walls.
Yeah.
But then again, with the help of our family and everything, and the insurance agent, he was awesome. We had a camper there in about 3 or 4 days selling gas. So we sold gas through the camper.
Oh, wow.
We opened up the
Were you there at this time?
No,
oh, okay.
No, this is years before.
Okay.
I think I was at the Parmar on the other side of town. I was his competitor.
We opened up the drive-through, not the drive-through, but to set coolers in so people would get pop. And we had limited snacks and drinks. And, it turned out to work out really great because we remodeled the place. It's a great-looking store. And
yeah, it looks fantastic.
Gave us a lot of ideas what we want to do with the rest of our stores. And so, like I said, I was less of at first it felt like a setback, but it turned out to be, a good situation.
Yeah. No, I didn't know that. I knew that, there were a number of years that I had seen the store down there, and then I've been gone for a number of years. I came back, and it was like way different. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, they just remodeled. I had no idea that it was because it was on fire and burned down. Like, that's crazy to me. But I can't imagine any of that. Like, and we were talking earlier about other lessons, talking about stuff you've dealt with. I think Colby should probably be the one to tell the story. Is that what comes to mind for you? The story of getting robbed first thing?
No.
I know that's not really a setback. That's just a wild story.
Yeah, that was just an interesting night at work.
Well, I think we've got to definitely tell that on here. Like, all so right. Let's hit us with that. How
you want to hear
this?
It from my perspective?
I want to hear it from your perspective, and then maybe get yours too,
Yeah.
and then we'll get back to, because this story is just it's like, I mean, it's a terrible story, but it's like now that everything ended up okay, like it's good. It's a great story.
Okay. So I'm at work at the Handy Mart, which is a liquor store,
yeah.
and I'm running the main register, and I rarely run that register. I'm usually running around doing something else in the store, so it's kind of weird. But I'm at the main register, and I see someone walking around the corner, and I mean, it's like 2 seconds, 3 seconds that I have. I see a dude walking around the corner with the mask on. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm about to get robbed. And like, I accepted it that quick. And so whenever he came in, I was really chill. You know, he was like...
It just blows my mind, because when you first told me the story, that's how he told me the story. I was like, no way, you had to be freaking out. He's like, no, I just accepted that I was getting robbed, this was happening, and I was just very calm. And I'm listening to you tell the story to me, and I'm like panicking, and you're like, no, I just accepted it.
Yeah. And the dude comes in, he holds his gun out to me, pointing at me and says, give me all the money. I say, okay, man, just give me 1 second, because I've got like... There's another customer that's directly in front of me, and I hadn't seen him in a really long while.
Yeah.
He was one of my buddies, and we were just kind of talking back and forth. Well, whenever the guy came in and interrupted our conversation, basically really rude.
Rude.
Then he pulls a gun on me. Rude.
Even more rude.
We're just adding layers to how rude this guy is. Not as rude as this one lady I'll tell you about later. But
okay.
Anyway, so he pulls the gun, says, give me all the money. I'm like, okay. So I cancel out something. You know, I start to give him the money, and whenever I go to give him the money, he asked for everybody else's money. He wasn't satisfied with the
with
amount
all the
of
money that's in the register in the drawer.
So he asked for everyone else's money, and when he does that, he takes his gun out of his right hand and puts it on his left hand, and then turns his eyes back towards me so the gun and him aren't looking in the same direction.
Yeah.
And then the customer that I was talking to took the gun, slammed it on the table, which then it's pointed at me. And I'm like, oh man, I don't have any insurance. I'm probably going to die.
How am I going to pay for this?
Just don't send me to the hospital.
Yeah.
That's all I'm thinking. You shoot me, just let me bleed out. Yeah. And so then they're like, they go on, and basically the gun goes down. He punches him in the face. The customer punches the robber in the face. And if he would have hit him one more time, I know that he wouldn't have been able to stand back up, because this guy's hands are like, I don't know, they're like both the size of my hands put together. I would say. I mean,
huge
they're huge.
Balls.
And he's like an older fella too, so I was really impressed with how quick. I mean, he punched him and got through the door, and then.
See, I watched the video again a little bit ago, and I didn't even realize that he punched him. I saw him slam the gun down.
You can't really tell.
Yeah, but I didn't know he punched him when it happened.
And that's basically, I mean, he tried to get away, and then for some ignorant reason, he kept the mask and the gun, and within the next day, he got caught.
So then, from your perspective, how does this go down? Because from my perspective, my perspective, I hear it like I think a day later. You tell me about it.
You get all the information at once.
Yeah.
It's not like
so. Like, what are you doing? Where are you? What's going on when this happens?
I get the phone call, and it might have been you that called me. I can't remember if it was you or Nicole.
I think I gave Kelsey the phone and told her to.
It was Kelsey. So Kelsey calls. I'm like, oh great. I said, is everyone okay? That's the most important thing.
That's
everyone's okay, and everyone was okay. And she said, well, the guy got attacked. I'm like, well, that's awesome, sort of. As long as everyone's okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I get there, and he's gone. They didn't really at the time they didn't know who he was, but stuff like that. Because I've had 5 previous armed robberies in my stores since 2011. That was the next
question. How many have you had?
6 total, but once in a while they get money. That's not that big of a deal to me. It's known that they're okay.
Yeah.
The employees is fine. But the other bad part about it is that no one really thinks about is the long-term effects of having a gun in your face.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that sucks.
I've never had a gun in my face.
Yeah.
I've had a knife in front of me, but never a gun.
I had last year we had a armed robbery, and the guy said that he was. But anyways, there's a robbery at Quick Stop, and
Colby, that's 9.3, bud.
We're good, man.
Okay.
I'm always drinking this fast.
Sorry.
That's fine. Right afterwards, the girl says, "I'm done."
Yeah.
She quit that night, and I don't blame her. I appreciate Colby and Kelsey staying.
Yeah.
But that's the worst part of it. Is not anything financial that happens or anything like that. It's just the whole mental aspect of it.
That's tough. I mean, it's probably PTSD. Like you wonder. I haven't asked you, but I've actually wondered since this. I've meant to ask you.
Just the next day, honestly, I was good that whole rest of the shift. Then the next day, I knew they hadn't caught the guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, what if he just comes back and shoots us?
Yeah.
And so then that's when I was like, every customer that came in, I was looking for something that matched their description. Yeah. Like every single customer. Even people I knew couldn't have been there.
Like if I walked in, you would have been sneaking.
I'd be like, and I realized I was doing that. Every time someone walked in the door, I was like, and now like I watch the corner a little bit more, but that's it. I mean, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
They caught the guy.
And you know, you don't want to think the worst of everybody, but for me, I think it'd be hard to like not look at everybody that walks the door and go like, oh crap, what is this? What are they here for? Are they buying alcohol? Or are they here to try and rob me? And so I don't know. I think that would be hard to get past, but apparently you have no problem with it. Just like you have no problem with, I don't have any insurance, just kill me.
That's how it should be.
But later that night, you know, I posted on Facebook that we were robbed. I did a picture of the guy of, you know, I didn't put the video up yet because I wanted to make sure I got the hold of Willie before I put that video up because it's going to be a big time for Willie. Willie Fox is the guy that punched him.
Yeah, the customer that was in there.
So I think someone he knows messaged me that night saying, hey, you know, he's a little shook up, but he's glad he did it and everything. I said, I totally appreciate that. He was over the AMVETS,
wasn't he? I think he went over there and told everybody.
So I messaged her back and said, listen, I got this video, which is pretty awesome. Ask him if I can put it on Facebook because he's going to start to get a lot of attention.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, go ahead.
That's awesome.
And, you know, I got somewhere around probably 30 or 40,000 views on it.
Oh, I didn't even think to look.
I thought it was even more than
Stupid
that.
me.
There was two videos that are out there. I think combined I had 30 or 40,000 views.
That's awesome.
And then, you know, I had the news get a hold of me to talk to him and everything. And, you know, that was really pretty cool. But
and I know for a fact, days after that, people were coming to the liquor store just to talk about it. People I hadn't seen, I guarantee numbers went up a ton, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then, you know, my Facebook messages, oh my gosh.
Oh, man.
Well, so many people, and a lot of them were just turning somebody in I'm sure they didn't like.
Oh, wow.
I didn't
think about that.
Either.
Oh, yeah. They're like, oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was this guy.
Oh, it was this guy. Yeah, I don't like that guy. It's like that Brinker guy. He's been hooking up with my wife.
He plays Call of Duty, too, so he probably has that mask.
Yeah.
But, you know, everyone did a great job. You know, a lot of people helped out to figure out who it was.
The police were great.
Yeah. And I can't say I was surprised when I found out who it was.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say about that right now.
That's all needs to be said.
But, you know, we're going to hopefully put him in prison.
Yeah. Well, the whole thing was just wild for me because, like, I've often had the thought here, like, I mean, we've got cameras and everything here, like, and I'm usually have something I could use to defend myself in here, but, like, you know, I've had the thought, like, what if somebody wanted to come in here and do that? And I try to put that out of my mind, and plus we're right by the police station is like right around the corner. There was a customer in here one time. I looked at him and I was like, you can leave right now, or you can we can chance and see how long it takes the cops to get a half a block over here. Like, cause I'll call them and they'll be here immediately. And he was like, he put his hands up and ended up walking out. He was just causing problems. All this guy was doing, but. Yeah, it was just wild to me hearing the whole.
He's just over here. Some competitive photographer was trying to sell like something, and Matt was like, "Get out of here! You are not taking my business."
So I keep joking with Melissa though. Another random sidebar. Melissa, the photographer that's here a lot. I keep joking with her because she's like, "Oh, I want to do little like photo shoots in here." And this, and I'm like, "Look, you're stepping on my territory, girl. Like, this is my spot, and you're in here like trying to creep on it." But then now she's at Little Fish right now, which is a brewery 45 minutes away. Okay, so cool. She's cheating on us. So you just lost your chance, Melissa. That's
you guys
it.
Aren't even open today, man. You can't attack her for that.
Shut up, Colby. I posted it on Facebook. So if that's not your biggest setback or failure at all, then what is?
Oh man, you want to go dark here or you want to keep it light? We can go real dark or we can go real light. It doesn't really matter.
Here's, by the way, Arch and Andy's, their usual once a week ice trip. Yeah, we love it. It's great.
Yeah.
All right, so what is your biggest setback or failure or whatever that you've turned into a comeback?
I don't know. I think there's a lot of different things. What I'll just say is basically like for my career musically.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's been a couple different places, you know, like I've had times where my entire band has quit before. Yep. Then I was like, oh, what do you do now?
Yep.
And things like that. I think this time last year, I lived here in Jackson, and within 1 month, my girlfriend broke up with me and moved out of my house. My whole band quit. Everybody quit in my band, and then I wound up getting robbed at my house.
Oh, wow.
I came home and all my stuff was stolen, and then I think I just kind of went nuts. I really just kind of went nuts for a minute and didn't know how to handle it. And I think that time and kind of coming back from that is what helped create the music and the mindset that I have with my music.
Yeah.
Of just positivity and just trying to do something. I don't know, just trying to do something different and actually just doing it without anybody else telling me how to do it, I guess.
Yeah. There's a couple things that come to my mind whenever you say that. Like, I think the view from the bottom is the absolute clearest view you'll ever have. Like when something bad happens, and I guess it depends on your viewpoint on things and your outlook on life, but like when you hit the bottom of something and you can just like, you look around and you've got nothing. And then it's like, okay, everything's very clear in that moment. Okay, what do I do now?
Yeah.
What's next?
It's survival. I feel like you get down to your instincts and your survival mode. You just kind of go into that.
Yeah, and then I think the other thing that pops in my head is one of my favorite quotes ever is a Japanese proverb. It says, fall 7, stand 8. And that means, every time you fall down to get back up again. And I think that really when you're talking about any type of setback or failure, we're talking about mindset more than anything. Like you can, boo-hoo, I got robbed or it's burnt down or I got fired or girlfriend left me or whatever it is. You can boo-hoo about it all you want, or you can go find something positive to put your energy to, and you can find something good.
And I spent so much time just doing the negative things and then having to be like, how can I redirect this energy? And I think that's the thing is taking that and just redirecting it.
Yeah, definitely, man. I think that, I don't know, because you could boo-hoo and pity party about the store burning down, but man, you immediately got a camper, you said, and started selling stuff that you could out of that, and doing what you can positive to make a step in the right direction.
See, and that's how I describe it. People always be like, oh, blah, 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 blah. What if this happened? Would you guys shut down? I'm like, dude, we're never going to shut down. We're shut down on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it?
And even the filling stations
just
never
that
shut
store.
down.
That's the only store I shut down because we just always have.
There's money to be made. There's work that needs to be done, and somebody needs the products that you're trying to sell.
Yeah.
And you know that. I mean,
we closed for, I think, 2 hours when the car went through our building.
Oh, wow.
That was enough just to make sure.
See, that's so badass. Think about that. I mean,
a car went through the building.
And then...
Was this the one in Wellston?
No, this one right here.
That one.
This
same one that burned down.
Another great story.
Here's another one. Great.
Okay, Tom, the manager down there, he was on vacation.
Okay.
So I get a call from the assistant manager who's running things that week at midnight. That's never a good thing to get a call at midnight from an assistant manager when the manager's out of town.
Yeah, never.
Was that when Becca was assistant manager?
No, this was Brittany.
Oh, okay.
Becca was one of the assistants, but she's one of the... So she said a car hit the building. I'm like, all right, I'll be there. So I'm there, and
you're probably expecting... What are you expecting going into this?
I just thought, when Quickstop got hit, I just thought it was just,
somebody hit the building.
Bumped the building. So I
did see this video.
Yeah, that had 50,000 views, I think.
Yeah, this one was huge, too.
Man, he's got more views than us.
Maybe it's 40. But so I'm coming around from 788, so I'm coming up the side of that's Bridge Street, and I'm like, there's no car hit the building. It must have towed it already. Well, no. I pulled in front. The car went all the way through the glass.
It was inside of the building.
It was inside the building. And the video is so awesome because, it goes through there. First, he tries to back up to get out.
Yeah, I did see this, actually.
Then he stops, and then 5 people just pour out of it. The last guy who's driving is holding his head.
There's 5 people in the car?
5 people.
Yeah.
It was like a clown car.
Full vehicle. Yeah, wasn't it like a really nice car?
It was a Camaro, I think.
Yeah.
And,
oh, wow.
And luckily he had insurance, but I don't know what he was trying to accomplish. And, it was wild.
Do you have any kind of story, like what happened or excuse or anything? Or
well, he did say he tried to warn us by squealing his tires or something.
Yeah, I forgot.
Some weird story like that.
What?
Yeah.
So wait, he meant to drive it through?
No, he didn't mean to drive it, but he tried to give us a warning before he hit us because he knew he was going to hit us.
Aren't your tires going to was he not hitting his brakes up to the point of that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like how? But, how's it going to warn you?
No customers are at that part trying to buy something because they would have
been killed.
Yeah.
I mean, it almost killed Audrey, didn't it?
No, they were on the other side.
Oh, they were on the other side. Okay.
But it scared the crap out of them.
That's a lot of paperwork nobody wants to deal with.
It just scared the crap out of them, too.
You ever just imagine you're in a room and someone walks in and opens the door and you don't expect it. You're kind of like, oh, man.
Yeah.
I mean, multiply that by like 10 million, and that's pretty much, that'd be awful.
But, that's nuts, man.
We closed for about 2 hours so we could clean the glass up and
2 hours.
put the gondolas in, and then
2 hours.
We opened back up, and everything on that side we got it for you because it's still a little dangerous. And
and that's mindset. I mean, that's really what that is. That's you have to make a quick decision.
Yep.
Do we continue working, or do we take a moment and weigh this all out? And you knew right then and there.
Well, part of it is I don't, by staying open is, we make money, but on aside of that, if we close, employees don't get paid, customers don't get service. There's
a whole
and it was only a
layers and
small
layers and
part of the
layers.
store. So.
Yeah, there's layers and layers and layers on that. And I think you're right on mindset. Like, we can't always control things that happen to us, but you can control how you react to them.
And I think that's the most important thing of what, no matter what we say today, is just redirection.
Yeah.
It's taking that negative energy, whatever you feel is a setback, and saying, okay, I'm here. How can I get to here? And just redirecting it.
I mean, and that's I started off saying, I had a couple years ago, had the worst failure of my life, lost a job, and I sat in a parking lot and thought, okay, this is it. I have no direction now. I don't know what I'm going to do. I should just end everything. And I sat there about 5 minutes just thinking. And then my first thought was, anybody that knows me, this probably won't be a surprise, was, what would happen to my dogs? And then it was okay, family, friends, whatever. And I'm only 31 now. It was 2 years ago. I'm 29 years old. And I'm thinking this is the end. I'm just going to end it. But then I started thinking, okay, there are so many things I can accomplish down the road in life if I don't give up now. Mm-hmm. There's so many different directions my life can go. And some of them could be bad and terrible, but some of them could be great and amazing. But ending it now, you don't have any chance to see where it goes or what it is.
Especially with how young you are. I mean, I feel I'm fairly young. I'm 43.
Yep.
Like Gary Vaynerchuk says, we're super young.
Yes.
But,
I was gonna actually purposely
I was
try.
waiting on it. I've been waiting this whole time. How long? Whatever time that took, we need to make a note of that. I was very surprised it took this long to say that.
I was gonna try to not mention it too.
But you got to
Shouts out to Gary Vaynerchuk.
Any problem you have right now, what's it going to be like a month from now? Is that going to be a problem a month from now?
Yeah.
Are you going to look back at what was I worried about?
Yeah.
And that's what's important is mindset. I mean, really just saying, okay, I can come back from this. I have come back from worse, and I guarantee you have at some point in time. And you're stronger, you're smarter now. It's about, whenever you get in situations like that, you think of your dogs, you think of whatever, but you're thinking of what connects you to this world.
Yes.
And the stronger connections you make, the stronger roots you make to the world and to the people that you love and you care about, to your job, to your career, to your passions. Those are the things that remind you and say, okay, well, I'm attached to this. I can't leave it.
Yeah, for sure. And I think something in the last couple of years, something that's been a constant for me in the back of my mind is I went to school at Marshall University. In the 70s, their plane crashed and they lost their entire football team except for a couple people that didn't go on the trip and all that. And the whole story of Marshall is from the ashes we rose and became champions again. And anytime I think about that, I get chill bumps right now. From a phoenix from the ashes, you can rise from something if you have a goal and you have something common to go towards. And they did. And that resonates with me, especially because I love that story because I went to Marshall a lot too. But we're good on time, I think.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it'll cut in about 3 minutes. So just keep an eye on them. Yep. But I've tweeted it several times. Watch me. From the ashes. Watch me. Watch me. Watch me.
Yeah.
And the coolest thing for me is, I said in the beginning, I'm right smack in the fucking middle of this, man. I just Friday completed my media kit with everything I ever needed to do anything. After literally 2 years ago, I mean, it was a little over 2 years.
You're using your phone.
Yeah. 2 years ago is when I started using my phone to make videos, and because that's all I had. And then, actually, exactly 2 years ago, though, I had a negative bank account, and I had no direction, no clue what I was going to do or how to make money, and then just started helping a friend to make some money, and then that got me through, and then I started working at the brewery earlier this year, and so it's so amazing what you can do if you have the right mindset, and it's always been what can I do next? What's going to help me get to where I need to go? Who can I help? And that's the biggest thing, is I wasn't even going there, but I just said it, and it popped in my head. Who can you help?
Yeah.
Who can you help, and who can you give a hand to, and who can you bring along with you? Because I think like even as you're going through it, you can give back to other people. You can help other people. You can give back, and you can bring people along with you. And I think that's something I've really tried to do these last couple of years, and it's now really paid dividends for me.
See, and I think that's something that, like, you know, our little Instagram group.
Yep.
I feel like, you know, there's a generation that's above us, which is like Jason.
Yep.
Mike, those guys, the guys down at Rowdy's, the guys
Nathan,
that are running businesses.
I'm gonna cut these real quick.
Yeah, you're cool.
Okay, and we're back. Sorry.
I don't have a clue what I was saying.
You're so bad at this.
I know, man. It's really bad.
Talking about how I'm in a different generation.
Oh yeah, you guys are just not old, but just like you've kind of done it a little bit more. You know what I mean? You've had a little bit of success, a good amount of success, I would say.
Yep.
And so I look to you guys and I say, okay, how can I do that?
Yep.
How can I have the same hustle, but for what I'm doing? You know, because obviously what you do and what I want to do, which is music, it's not the same thing. But at the end of the day, you know, just saying, hey, my building burnt down, I'm still going to make some money here.
Yep.
That's hustle. And it's like those things. It's like, hey, you know, we've had so many times playing music where it's like, oh man, this part on the van broke. It's like, we've got 6 hours to get to the show. Let's fix this. And then I remember one time we had this show. For some reason, we drove south to drop off one of our dudes for a wedding, and then he was coming back and then riding up with us. And I remember that one of our belts broke on our van, and fixing that, I had some buddies that came over and helped, and then we did it all. And I remember showing up to the show right on time, barely there, covered in grease, and just being just like, I got to go to the bathroom. And then like, and those are the moments when you're like, okay, cool, like it doesn't matter what gets in the way if you have your mindset just straightforward, constantly, eyes on the prize, you know, thinking about the goal. Like there won't be anything that gets in your way. Obstacles, you'll just step over them.
Okay.
You know.
Yep. And since we got out of the way and you said Gary Vaynerchuk's name, now we can just go all the way.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, actually,
take over. I'll see you later.
Yeah,
it was nice to see you guys.
Peace, Colby. No, I think that, like, because I've gone back and forth with people in the last couple of years since I've been following Gary, and like I didn't tell you this earlier. Part of the whole reason, like the same week or two where I sat in the parking lot and thought, like, I'm just gonna end my life, was right where I discovered Gary Vaynerchuk for the first time. And it took me a couple months to really get motivated, but between him and Casey Neistat putting out videos about how, like, he did a Q&A one day that was how to become a filmmaker. And he said, well, you just start. You take whatever you've got and you just start making stuff. Yeah. And it was December 1st of 2016 is when I made my first video with the intent of actually learning how to make videos and take better photos and be a content creator. And it was because of Gary and all that. And I think what I really early on with Gary and with Casey loved in their videos and their messages was not any of their tactics really, just their mindset, man. Mm-hmm. And like I've argued with my sister a little bit about Gary Vaynerchuk. Like, well, you know, his dad gave him money and blah 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 blah. And a lot of people like try to diss him. But it doesn't
matter where you get whatever you have. Yeah. That's actually like one of the main things about this topic that I wanted to say originally whenever I shot you the idea. That's more of what I was saying is like wherever you start, making something of that. That's and then you said setbacks or comebacks, and I was like, okay, let's roll with that, because I guarantee you every single one of us started somewhere completely different.
And so that's something I wanted to get into with you is like, how did you start in the convenience stores and all that? And then I also, if there's any business, towards the end, definitely if there's any business advice you can give to anybody, general or specific, whatever, I definitely give to that.
Because we've got a lot of young people who are watching this show, and young by, I don't know if it means age or just where they're at with what they want to do.
Yeah. So how did you get started in convenience stores and all that?
Well, actually, you know, when I graduated from Bowling Green, I had a degree, psychology degree, and I didn't really get the good enough grades to go to grad school, and that was my own fault. But
he liked to party.
Yeah. Well,
this is a wild shot in the dark. I don't know that for sure.
But anyways,
I like to party. I don't know who does.
You know, my first job out of college, I worked for the Boy Scouts, and this wasn't actually going to meetings, not being a scout. This was the business side of it, where I did fundraising, membership raising, and you know, it was a business job. Yeah. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't really what I wanted to do. So right after that, I took a job in social work, and I'm not cut out for social. That takes a special person.
I was gonna say that's a tough, tough thing to do.
It was kind of close to my psychology degree, I thought, and so my dad, he's a former attorney, a former judge, but he had a law office right in the middle of Wellston, and he approached me and said, "Hey, why don't we build a convenience store?" Yeah. Like, all right, let's do it. And I'd never had any business experience. You know, first day we opened was the first day I ever ran a cash register.
Oh, wow.
First day I'd ever been a boss to anybody.
Yeah.
So
wow, just throw him into the fire.
So you're telling people what to do, and you're still really not sure what to do.
Yeah, they probably knew more than me. And, you know,
awesome.
I had people right from the start tell people, well, he don't know what he's doing. I'm like, yeah, they're right. I don't. I'm learning. I'm trying.
And when was this, by the way?
2000.
Oh, wow.
2000.
So that wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, well,
in terms of the business.
Yeah.
How quick things...
I mean, it'll be 19 years in April that we've been open. And so a lot of just learning by making mistakes. And then, you know, like I said, right after that, in 2001, someone approached us to buy the filling station, so we bought it. And that was a big jump because now, you know, I'm
You've got multiple locations to deal with.
and a really good location, too, in both towns.
Yeah, and we really, you know, that place had a lot of issues when we bought that place. And I feel we really turned it around. And then in 2004, we bought the other two. So, you know, still not a lot of experience 4 years into it. And all of a sudden I have 4 stores. And, you know, it's a lot of lessons learned. And I'm still learning lessons. I make mistakes daily.
Yeah, man.
And that's the one thing, you know, for advice, you know, when you're going through it, you're going to make a ton of mistakes.
Yep.
It's going to happen.
Yep.
It's all right.
People are going to say, oh, we don't know what he's doing. They're going to judge you too.
Yeah.
And you just got to keep going though, right?
You got to look at the end goal or the long-term goal. And that is having a good life, you know.
Yep.
But, you know, it's a lot of fun. 90% of the time I love what I do. 10% of the time it gets a little wild.
Do you feel like you're a firefighter like Gary talks about?
Yes, and that's one of the things I am trying not to be. You know, I talk to my dad about this a lot, and one of my problems is I am a firefighter instead of preventer.
Yeah.
And okay, explain to me a little bit. Sorry.
Yeah.
And to the other people.
You want me to do it?
Well, instead of reacting to problems, you're making things right so those problems don't happen.
Ahead of time.
So Gary calls himself a firefighter. He says when he wakes up in the morning, he has like his routine and all that. But then the next several hours of his day is like dealing with problems. And then, like he said, when he's got an office in London, and London's ahead. So when he wakes up, there might be problems he's got to deal with in London office
right from
and all
the
that, right from the rip.
Okay.
And then once everybody wakes up, like he works out early and all that. And once New York wakes up, and then Chattanooga, and then LA, and all that. Like he's got constant things he's got to deal with, people he's got to, problems he's got to deal with. So he calls himself a firefighter because he's constantly putting out fires instead of being preventative. But I think it's a little different with the scale. I'm not sure he really is able to be preventative because again, he's got. There's one in London, there's one in New York, there's one in Chattanooga, and there's one in LA. I know. I feel like there's more, but he's got 4 offices across the world, and he's getting ready to open more, and he's got over 1,000 employees at this point. Like it's a little different, but like I think at your scale, you are able still probably to be preventative with stuff. I would hope.
And probably 90% of the issues I have probably could be prevented if I did something differently.
Yep.
And that's another thing. Just
like if you set an auto turret at the Handy Mart just to stand up and shoot the people when they pull guns on us.
Get a little robot to kill people.
But really, when something like that happens, I think, why did that person do that? Is there something that we're doing wrong? Or do we have a gap in something that makes them think they can come and do that?
Yeah. That's such a unique. I'm so glad you said that.
That's a great. Yeah, I didn't.
That's such a unique perspective, I think, for most people, and I'm the same way. When something goes wrong, the first person I look at is me, not somebody else, not whatever. And it was that way when I coached too. Like if there was a problem, if an athlete had a problem, and there was something wrong, and they couldn't figure it out, or something went bad, or whatever it may be, the first person I looked at was me, not the athlete, and not the other coaches, and. There were times I would blame the athlete or the other coaches and stuff, but that wasn't the way I should have reacted. It was almost always, looking back now, it was something I could have done better or I could have fixed.
That's how I feel playing in bands with people. Yep. A lot of times I was in a band, I did a lot of the booking, I did a lot of the writing, I did a lot of the legwork, and then when something would go wrong, I feel like I blame other people, and then after a while I was like, hey, you're irresponsible in this way. You're doing this. You're doing that. What can we do to fix that? So,
I don't think most people react that way.
Well, I really, and probably about 3 or 4 years ago is when I really started to kind of fall in that mindset. I read there's an author, his name's Larry Winget.
Okay.
And some of his books are Shut Up, Stop Whining, Get a Life.
Okay.
You're broke because you want to be.
I've heard of
See, I
those
love
books.
Jason's mindset. That's why I wanted him on this podcast.
Pro Pairs, another book. And, his big thing is, and there's always an exception. So I know people are just like, well, no. But almost everything that happens to you, good or bad, is your own fault.
Yep.
If you're out of shape, it's your own fault.
Yep.
If you're, if you're unhappy, it's your own fault.
Yep.
And, when you start taking ownership of your failures and your screw-ups, instead of trying to blame other people, and when you blame other people, it's kind of hard to take care of.
It is.
You can take care of yourself and try to move forward and fix it.
I think there's a quote, like, I'm big on quotes. I think you probably picked up on that one by now. Like,
Usually don't know who says them, though.
No, that was Joe Huck, not me. I remembered all of mine.
I'm just messing with you.
Yeah. I am 100% my own problem, so I am also 100% my own solution. And it's so true. Like,
I feel like people fall into one of two categories, and that's not one of them very often. I feel like you guys are in a different class, because I feel like most people try to blame someone else.
Yes.
Or they consistently blame themselves in places where, in a form that isn't healthy for themselves, is not proactive.
Yes.
And I feel like if you're going to take the fault, you have to be proactive with that, instead of just saying, oh, yeah, that was me because I can't do this. Basically, that negative mindset.
Yep.
I mean, I see that a lot. I've done it myself, but
my least favorite mindset of people that I've dealt with in life is, I won't say any names. I'm going to try and keep this as general as
Colby
possible.
Lykins.
not Colby Lykins. Let's blame Larry.
Larry Dickens.
By the way, when he was whispering in the microphone, I had no clue what he was saying.
I don't either.
Until I got back into editing, and I was like, that dude is hilarious, man.
Dude, he's fun. I love Larry.
The fear of failure in little arbitrary things. Like, there was somebody that I dealt with in life that was afraid to put a phone case, like a stick-on phone case, like that would go on, out of fear of messing it up and having to buy a new one. And I was like, this is like a $10 like stick-on case, man. Like, it's not gonna hurt the phone if you mess it up. And the only way you're gonna get better at doing something is by doing it. So you might as well just do it instead of passing it off to somebody else. I think that mindset, that's my least favorite mindset to deal with, is like, I can't do that. I can't figure it out. I've never done that. I don't know how. You do it.
See, that's the thing. Like, okay, side story here. So the other day, I'm walking. I'm like, I'm not gonna throw any shade to anybody's names. This is totally. I probably shouldn't say this, but whatever. Okay. But there's this mother, and she's got her kids, and she's literally like holding them like so. I don't know, like not even in any format holding them properly, so that someone will just take the children from her because she was just too lazy to hold her own kids.
Oh wow.
And it's like I was holding one of her children, and I was so pissed off, and I was very, very angry, and I was just bad language dropped from my mouth. I went and grabbed her other child and just took them and made sure they were okay, because that's just something I can't stand. As someone who has something that relies on them, like that'd be like me calling Jason, saying, "Hey, Jason, the store's on fire," and you going, "Can you call the fire department for me and just tell them that."
How bad do you have to pee right now?
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like, I mean,
how big is the fire and how bad do you have to pee?
And another thing is, like, if he hires employees and keeps them, I've been with you for 3 years now. In February, if he keeps employees who are incapable of calling the fire department themselves before they call him, then that should be another thing on you, you know? Yeah. I mean, obviously, if something like that happened, I'd call them. Yeah. I'd call them, and then you would come in and take care of it.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, it's just so many people just don't step up and do what they need to do.
You almost have to have everything in writing.
Yeah.
If this happens, do this.
Yeah.
And I'm working on that.
How hard is it to be a boss? I've never been a boss, I don't think, of anybody. You guys are both bosses.
I mean, it's definitely hard, you know, and not so much boss, but, you know, when something's wrong, you know.
I guess manager is a better word no matter what.
I prefer leader.
Leader.
That's what I try to do at least.
Yeah, at 2 a.m, if something goes wrong, if someone does something wrong and you get a message about it, you got to take care of that, or you got to pass along, you know. The hardest thing I think about being a man or an owner or a boss or whatever is you don't really get a step away at any time.
It is attached to you.
It's 24/7.
Just like, you know, right before Thanksgiving, I was driving down to Mississippi. I got a phone call saying that smell is happening again in Handy Mart. Well, it turns out our furnace went bad. Oh, nice. So at the same time I'm dealing with this.
Did you call him?
No, I don't think it was me this time.
So at the same time I'm driving, dealing with getting someone in there to look at the furnace, I get a call for the filling station that somebody opened their car door and hit the post of our canopy, and all the flash happened, all the lights went out.
At the gas pumps, by the way.
Yeah.
And it had something with the way it was wired when a Sunoco guys came down and installed our lights.
Yeah.
They did something weird. So I'm dealing with a furnace we had to put in.
Do you have 2 phones?
No, unfortunately I don't.
Is this possible?
And like they're both extreme circumstances.
Yeah.
I mean,
and so I'm handing Jackie, I'm like, text this, because I'm not texting and driving with kids in my car. And
but if there's
Don't
no
text and
kids,
drive.
it's totally fine. No, I'm
And
just kidding. Don't do that.
And that, that's just one of those things. There's just really no closure.
Yeah.
Not closure, but escape.
Yeah.
Which we did actually get new. Today we got new LED lights down on the hill.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
you can
Can
price.
you see them from here?
Probably.
If you stand up, you can see them.
I'll check them out on my way
But
out
yeah,
there.
they are definitely a lot brighter.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the hardest thing. You get up on a Sunday morning and you see there's an issue.
Yep.
And that's the whole thing about, though, being a fire preventer than a firefighter.
Yep.
Working towards not having those issues.
Yeah. And I think for me, I have a small staff of bartenders here that I am in charge of, but I don't view myself as in charge or as a boss or anything. And I think I might have said it on here before. I like hiring people with no experience and then literally like holding their hand and teaching them for several weeks what I want them to do and how. And I'm small enough that I can do that. It's probably impossible for something like what you've got, unless you've got a manager under you that can do it for you.
Yeah.
Like if Colby was the manager or whatever to train all the people, like that's different. But when I hire somebody here, I want to hire somebody with no experience, so they're a blank slate. I hire on really on attitude and work ethic, and I'm a big believer in what Gary always says too, like hire fast but fire faster. If they suck, get them out.
Yeah.
But I'll give them 3 to 6 weeks to really learn the ropes, learn how to make drinks, how to pour beer, how to interact with customers, blah blah blah, all that stuff, and then I let them go. Then I don't pull the rug out from each of them, but I hands off.
Sink or swim. Just
If they ask me for something like, hey, how do I make this drink? I'll make it for them. I'll show them again, and I'm very patient with that. But I don't view myself as a manager or a boss. It's more just a leader. Like, hey guys, this is how we want to do this, and this is why. And I do a lot of talking, a lot of explaining to anybody that works with me of like why I do something or how I do something. Or there was one person here recently that she's very good with customers and all that. But I was like, hey, you could come in softer with customers and be like, hey guys, what's up? How are you today? Let them respond, and then go, can I get you something to drink? Instead of leading off with, what can I get you to drink? And like it just feels more of a conversation to the customers, and it creates a better experience for the customers. But it's more leadership than anything. And I've been on the other side though, where I thought I'm in charge. You should have to listen to me and do everything I say. And if you screw up, you're an idiot. And I created in one of the first businesses I ran, I created a very toxic environment because of that. And it'll happen quick. And
Sorry, I was going to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Interruption.
Go ahead.
So years ago, I think it was 2016 and 2017, I directed a theater, and I realized very quickly I'm terrible at organization. Absolutely terrible.
We know that, Colby.
In 2017 and 2018, I was an assistant director at a different school. So one year I was a director in another school.
Yeah.
I was an assistant director. And then I was also down here and working at a school.
Yeah.
But I realized quickly, I was like, I'm a better assistant director because I can't organize everything very well because I'm so focused on doing one thing so much.
Yeah.
And I realized that, and whenever the year came around, I quit the directing job and just focused a lot more on assistant direct.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was more like vocal coaching and that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
I realized I was better at that kind of smaller group kind of thing rather than taking on a whole bunch of people.
And that's self-awareness, knowing who you are and what you're good at and your strengths and weaknesses, and then being able to surround yourself with people that are good at the other things is a huge key to be able to.
That's the most important thing, is finding people who can do what you can't do, and then putting them around you 24/7.
I think that's kind of what I like about having you and I as staples here is we're exact opposites on a lot of this stuff.
So many things.
It's so cool to have like the exact opposite, like it's stuff I'm bad at, he's good at, and vice versa.
Yeah, that's an important thing of having, as a boss is having. I have 4 great managers. I have a lot of great employees, and
not Colby.
Not Colby.
But that getting them to handle a lot of the stuff that you don't need to handle. That's the greatest thing.
Yeah. So. And that's something that I think I can. as you said, not a firefighter, but a fire preventer. I've tried to do that more here. Mike's very busy with brewing stuff all the time. Kelly has a realty business. Jen and Jamie are constantly busy with Arch and Eddie stuff. Like the amount of stuff that Jamie does on a day-to-day basis just blows my mind. Like, I mean, he's the first person there. He's not always the last person to leave, but he doesn't need to be. But if he needed to be, he would be.
Yeah.
But he's always the first person there, and he's always doing stuff. And I see that, and because of that, I don't want him to have to deal with a lot of stuff. So.
See, that's how I am. If something goes wrong at the Handy Mart, I'm like, how can I fix this so I don't have to call Jason or call Nicole, which is my manager?
Yes.
And then that's so important, is being able to handle things yourself when you know you're capable of doing it.
And I think as an employee, I think that's something that people that are in charge, any leadership, in any leader, boss, manager, owner, whatever it may be, I think they value that. And I would think they take notice of that too. Like, and that's, I think that part of the reason why I've gotten ahead in a lot of organizations I've been in is just by seeing problems ahead of time and dealing with them. And then also, like, I'm pretty vocal about it, so I make sure it gets noticed, like certain things.
You're like, hey, look what I did.
Yeah,
I just did this. I recorded it on my nice cameras too.
Yeah.
And
so, certain things I just let go, but certain times I'm like, hey, hey, did you hear about this? This happened, blah, blah, blah. And
I gave $5 to a homeless person, had a drone fly over and film the whole thing.
We should do that sometime, Colby. But I know. Asshole. But no, I am, but I think that the balance of those things, though, has gotten me ahead in a lot of organizations because I am quick to take care of things, but I'm also quick to, hey, what do you want me to do here? And then I'll go take care of it then. Or like just balancing those things has really been good and it's helped me a lot. We have about 9-ish minutes left, so I definitely want to get this in before we get up against it. Do you have any either just general business advice or very specific business advice or just general life advice that you live by? I know you're an avid runner, are you not?
Oh, yeah.
I was going to bring that up. I was waiting. I was like, I got to say that.
Avid runner, like anything you've learned from that or anything you want to get out there in the world that you really believe in, that you really want to share with all 5 people that watch this podcast.
Well, really just keep pushing forward. Don't be afraid to ask for advice. I suffered from that for a while too, especially from especially my dad's got a lot of good advice, and I just wouldn't want to hear it. But he's right about a lot,
Them damn dads.
And that's the thing. Don't be scared to ask for advice. Don't be worried if you don't know something, because I'm learning something every day too.
Yep.
I'm learning new ways I messed up. I'm learning new ways to do something different.
Yep.
So,
No, I think that's right, and I think if I were asked that same exact question, I would say, be kind, help other people, don't be afraid to fail, and do things with passion or don't do them at all.
And I think one of the other more
No, go ahead.
One of the other more important things that I can commend you for is then taking you kind of create a little bit of a name for yourself, and people respect you. People know that you're a hard worker and that you get things done, and then you give back to the community and you give back to your employees and you give back to people. And I think that's something that when a person comes into the Handy Mart, when they say, this place is owned by Jason, isn't it? And I'm like, yeah. Or they're like, they say things, and I just constantly hear good things about you. And that's something that it's really important, I think, for a person. When I first started working at the filling station, I really didn't know you very well. Mm-hmm. We started talking about Game of Thrones, and I was like, okay, Jason's awesome. He talks about Game of Thrones.
Fan
awesome.
too? Yes.
We could have a whole podcast episode just about Game of Thrones theories.
I drink the wine and I know the things.
But I think that those things are super important, and that they really carry over. When people see your name in the paper, it's not like you're not doing that to get your name in the paper. Yeah. You're just saying, hey, I've done this much, and I want to give back to these people and do this for them.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things I enjoy about the opportunities I have being in where I'm at is doing giving back to people, and I just like doing it. It's that's one of the things I look forward to. Like 2 weeks ago at the toy drives we had. Yeah. I just like doing that. I don't really care if we have any press for it, but
right. And you're not signing your name underneath every single thing that pops up to try, so.
Yeah. I think
I think people know it's genuine.
Right.
You know?
I think this is here recently is the first experience I've ever had really with being able to give back, because I really only had enough to be able to kind of take care of myself. I think this podcast is a little bit of that too, trying to disseminate the ideas I've collected over the years and the inspiration and motivation too. But here recently, like as I've been able to acquire more gear and more stuff, and like I just got these new lenses last week and completed my gear kit, and I don't really have any use for my old lenses. And they, like, honestly, I've made way too much money off those cheap lenses. And they've gotten me through the last year and a half of having the cameras. And so I'm giving away all my old lenses. And it's been so cool to like give them away, and people are like, thank you so much. You don't have to, I'm like, it's really not that big of a deal, but like,
that's the
if
thing.
it helps
You put yourself in that position to where you can help other people.
If it helps you and you can use that same lens and you can make a bunch of money off that lens, you know, it's a $130 lens. It's not that much money. But that one lens that I got when I first got my camera has made me thousands and thousands of dollars off that little guy. So to be able to give that away to somebody, I gave it to Aiden. I gave that first lens to Aiden. Yep. And he's a high school senior getting into, he usually helps us with the podcast.
Yeah.
Anti shout out to you again, Cade, or Aiden. Cade. Why am I doing names?
Cade and Corey. Who are these people he's hanging out with and not telling me about?
I'm sorry. Aiden, sorry. Anti shout out to you again.
I'm going to have to go through his phone later and check our joint Facebook account.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, we should have a whole episode about that once. I can rant about that one for a long time. Anyways.
Did you ever have a joint Facebook account, guys?
Never,
Anybody?
I never will.
Jason, did you have one?
Okay. No.
Sorry for all the people that watched are watching
and
on
we
their
have
joint Facebook.
We have 0 views now.
Man, I did it.
It has been cool to be able to give back, though. And I'm hoping that in the next couple of years I can watch those people use those same tools and grow with it. So that's something that I've never experienced, and it's awesome, and I want to do more of.
Yeah.
And it's like I want to turn Matt Brinker Productions into a media house here in the near future and bring on employees and help me to scale it and go and take these people with me, because I think I've got enough gear now we can do it, and I've built enough of a reputation now off of the work that I've put out there that people are like, yo, if you want good quality stuff, go to that guy.
Yeah.
And I just had a phone call Sunday, man. It was so cool to hear. Like, this guy was like, I followed you from the beginning. And he's like, man, your work wasn't bad in the beginning, but he's like, your work now is like way. And I was like, oh, that's so cool.
That
man.
always
Thank you
feels
so much.
good to hear that you've improved.
Like I said, I watched 3 of your podcasts today.
Oh, wow.
So I knew what to, I want to listen to it while I worked. Okay. I can sit there and watch it, but I'm like, so I knew, and they're high quality, and
thank you, man.
It's really good.
We're trying. Is there anything else? We've got about 3 minutes left, 2.5, 3 minutes. Anything else we want to touch on or say or put out into the world?
I don't know.
We love Gary Vaynerchuk.
We love what?
Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yeah.
Dude, someday, that would be the ultimate for me.
Just to have him on here.
To have him on here.
If we have him on here, Jason has to come too.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Jason has to come sit up.
We'll make it a
4-person table.
Yeah, but I did see one of his videos he put out one time. Some guy was like, I'm starting to podcast, but I'm only going to start it if you'll be my first guest. And he's like, sure. Yeah. And I was like, no.
Well, that's a big thing. He really stresses interacting with all your comments.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if he hits every single comment, but I guarantee you he's getting pretty close.
And that's the most important thing. That's what brings people back to things.
Yeah.
Now, another cool guy to follow on Instagram, I think it's D-Rock.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I follow D-Rock.
Yeah.
I fuck with D-Rock heavy, man.
Every time I see Jason, I just pull my notes out and I get ready to, write down a bunch of people to start following.
D-Rock liked, I took one of his quotes and tagged him on Instagram, and D-Rock hit me with a little heart. I was like, yes. Yeah. I've gotten 1 heart from Gary and 1 heart from D-Rock in my life.
Dude, my favorite band tweeted at me one time, and I was like, yes, it's like the best feeling in the world.
That's awesome.
But one time, oh man, that's a story. I'll save it for another time.
Because we're up against it again. So I think we'll wrap it here. Jason, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
nice to meet you. This was fun. I will link everything down below. As always, like, share, give us feedback if you want. We'll try to hit all the comments. I try to go through. I've got a couple notifications I got to go through anyways. We try to do that, and we appreciate it.
Go give Matt Brinker Productions 2 stars on Facebook.
Please don't. I think it's at 5 stars. Please don't do that.
I'm just kidding. Don't do that, please.
Colby on high, 2 stars.
2 stars.
Sorry, actually, it's on high. Why is it just on high on Facebook?
Because that's my artist name. Colby is just my actual name. Well, it's my middle name. So.
Oh, yeah, it is your middle name, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, that's
really half of my middle name.
I had to we got that thumbprint thing, clocks now.
Yeah.
And I had to put in.
Oh, no, he's going to drop it.
Who's Adam?
Who is Adam? Oh
no! Everybody knows my secret identity.
He cannot hide.
But yeah, I know it's always weird hearing that too. I'm like, oh, I've got to like stand straighter. Yeah. My name's Adam.
It's like when someone calls me Matthew or just Matt. Sometimes that's what I get. But like you keep saying like
it's Matt Brinker,
it's
guys.
Matt Brinker. That's it. It's Matt Brinker.
He has a first and a last name. They're both attached. There's a hyphen in the middle.
It has to be both. That's all for this week. Thank you guys so much for watching. We appreciate it. Later. Peace.
That came so quick.
Dude, that was right on it.
I know. I saw the one camera die and then the other one.